want to know how a country is doing, don't look at GDP numbers or stock charts. Look at its boarding passes. Because in 2025, India's emotions did not stay on social media. They showed up at airports, railway stations, highway dhabas, and temple queues. Hope, stress, celebration, burnout. All of it played out with trolley bags and IRCTC tickets. We'll look at three different journeys here, where India traveled inside the country, where India traveled outside the country, and how a new generation turned travel from a once-a-year holiday into a lifestyle choice. So first, let's start at home, because before Indians stamped passports, it stamped hotel bills right here in their own backyard. By August 2025, airlines within India had already carried over 11 crore domestic passengers, almost 5% more than the same period last year. October alone saw 1.4 crore domestic flyers driven by festivals, weddings, and long weekends. In simple words, flights were packed, and they were not just full of business travelers, they were full of families, honeymooners, solo backpackers, college friends, and one entire generation taking just a quick trip very, very seriously. So which parts of India did Indians actually go to? Well, the short answer is Uttar Pradesh, which topped the list, with South India following closely. And the hills? Well, they never went out of fashion. According to the latest domestic tourism data, Uttar Pradesh emerged as India's most visited state in 2025, accounting for nearly 22% of total domestic tourism. Visitor numbers crossed 650 million trips, driven by Ayodhya, Varanasi, Agra, and Prayagraj. Ayodhya's Ram Mandir opening did not just attract pilgrims, it turned one city into a year-long travel magnet. Varanasi and Prayagraj added the spiritual layer to it. And Agra, well, the Taj Mahal continued doing what it always does, pulling in heritage lovers and selfie takers alike. Just behind UP, states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka continued to dominate domestic tourist arrivals, together contributing over 30% of India's domestic visits. Temple towns, beaches, hill stations, and tech city weekend breaks all fed that rush. If you had to draw India's 2025 domestic travel map, it would look something like this. Spiritual north, holiday south, and hill stations everywhere. So, who powered this travel wave in 2025? One answer kept showing up in every report: Gen Z and millennials. Travel platforms reported a massive jump in bookings from younger travelers, with some destinations seeing multi-100% growth in Gen Z interest. The new travel starter pack was simple: laptop, ring light, hostel, bunk bed, and one Instagram reel from every cafe. Hill stations across Himachal and Uttarakhand, river towns like Rishikesh, and even northeast circuits became hotspots for what people called workcations, or as the internet joked, quiet quitting from the mountains. On the flip side, beaches never slowed down. Goa, Kerala, Pondicherry, and coastal South India stayed packed, especially during long weekends and music festivals. Now let's step outside the borders. Where did Indians travel when they left the country in 2025? The most recent full-year data shows 30.8 million international departures, a record high. By 2025, outbound travel continued to rise, with the market estimated around $21 billion and projected to grow at over 11% a year this decade. So where did those passports get stamped? Well, the top list, however, stayed familiar. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, the United States of America, Thailand, Singapore, and United Kingdom, apart from Qatar, Canada, Kuwait, and Oman, together accounting for about 70% of all international departures. The UAE, especially Dubai and Abu Dhabi, stayed India's favorite international playground, from quick shopping trips and concerts to I just need a break from office weekends. Thailand and Singapore, meanwhile, dominated first-time international travel, and places like Phuket and Bali continued winning as cheap luxury and wellness destinations. And who was doing most of this global hopping? Once again, millennials and Gen Z, taking short trips, making experience-heavy itineraries, and a lot of content creation. That's where what we're going to talk about right now comes. Flights playing a big role. But India moved mostly on rails and roads. Railways carried massive volumes, especially pilgrims and family travelers heading to Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. Pilgrimage tourism exploded. Ayodhya, Varanasi, Tirupati, Shirdi, Vaishno Devi, together they stitched a year-long spiritual travel circuit. And highways? Road trips stayed the middle-class favorite. Load the car, book a budget stay online, and drive until the playlist runs out. Now for the fun part, the trends, because 2025 was not just about where India went, it was about how Indians wanted to feel while traveling. A few patterns stood out. Content-driven travel, Instagram and YouTube shaping destination choices more than guidebooks. Experience over checklists, food trails, wellness retreats, and adventure trips, beating 5 countries in 7 days kind of holidays. Quiet luxury, boutique hotels, premium trains, and curated stays grew among high-income travelers. And sustainability, still niche, but clearly growing among younger travelers. For some, travel was spiritual. For others, it was an escape. And for a smaller but richer group, it was a lifestyle. In 2025, India did not travel for holidays. It traveled to find breathing space. On planes, on trains, in immigration queues and temple lines, the story was the same. A country trying to buy itself a little more time, a little more meaning, and a little more distance from everyday stress by taking one trip at a time.